neighbor. I'm glad we're together again.
Welcome in, everyone, to Barely Educated. We are here to preview Bears-Rams, maybe catch up a little bit on the Bears week that was. There's a couple newsworthy things, but nothing too insane. I'm Mark. As always, I'm joined by Chris. Chris, we have not had any coaches running around Hallis Hall with their pants off get fired this first month.
Yeah.
No one has quit. We're not 0-4. And yet I'm still pretty irritated at the state of this team because of the decisions made at the end of the season, which means the coaching. But anyway, it could be worse. I just wanted to remind you how bad it was last year at this time.
Thanks.
Otherwise, how are you?
Well, I was good until a minute ago. Thanks a lot.
No, I'm saying it's better than it was, but it's still kind of frustrating. But anyway.
Yeah. No, it's good. It's Friday. It's a beautiful day. I'm doing good. Good to see you, my friend.
Friday, we are getting the leftovers of hurricane.
Oh, yeah.
So we have lots of rain. I don't know if it's not like raining hard. It's just raining forever.
Yeah.
I've got a double podcast Friday. I'm recording after this, my podcast on the biblical world, archaeology one, on script,
nice.
The biblical world.
Nice.
So we're going to talk a little Egypt and the Exodus there. So yeah, it's always nice to get the podcast done on a Friday. That's kind of the way it tends to work for me.
Yeah, very cool. I really dig it, man. Sorry.
Oh, no.
Sorry.
You suck, Chris.
I'm so sorry, everyone. Okay, so...
That reminds me, I still have your book I've never read, the one that you edited on Exodus.
Wow, you've never read it. That's okay.
I haven't. I'm a bad friend and
it
worst
joins a pile
of
books by your friends that you haven't read.
Yeah. I read Keith's latest book. Shout out to Keith if you're listening.
Wow, I see where I rank.
Wow, no.
He's 100% not going to ever listen.
His had larger print and was smaller.
And with his little tiny brain, easier to read.
Wow!
Now we got to tag him in the post and tell him to listen to the first couple minutes.
Very nice. Well, he's an LSU guy. Maybe we can dovetail that into the rookie quarterbacks in the NFL this year.
I don't think he cares about football enough, probably.
Oh,
but
okay, fine.
So where do you want to start on? Yeah, there you go. There's another soundbite. I don't know where to begin exactly. The week that was, I think, makes some sense. The main news is Darnell Wright's dealing with an injury, and we kind of wondered if he or Jenkins weren't 100% based on how much their play seems to have dipped in the run game, especially. And now I suppose you can call that kind of confirmed, but he's not necessarily out.
Yeah,
for this game. It's day to day.
I was kind of glad to know or to learn that he wasn't 100%. You know what I mean? Because there was such a drop from last year from his rookie season. So in a way, I'm kind of glad that he's fighting something. But
it's weird feeling, right? Like to be like, okay, well that explains it. But I feel the same way, except for I don't want the back to linger. Obviously, he's a big man. You that's one of those scarier ones if it is anything serious. But I agree that if it accounted for some of the dip in play, and then you could get it right.
Yeah. No pun intended.
He'd be back to himself. Yeah. Well, it's always intended. The injury list is pretty long, and we're recording at 10:30-ish on Friday, so we don't have Friday's report, but we have yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Two players that hadn't been on it showed up: Kevin Byard and Mercedes Lewis. The Lewis is just veteran rest. But Byard is a back. He was fine Wednesday and then didn't practice yesterday. Pickens, Terrell Smith, Darrell Taylor didn't practice the whole week so far, right? We still got today. And then Darnell Wright didn't practice Wednesday, was limited yesterday, so maybe he can play. Allen was limited both. Looks like he's playing.
Mm-hmm.
Andrew Billings, this one's really worrying too, went on a knee, went from limited to not practicing. So limited Wednesday, didn't practice Thursday. He's really good.
Yeah.
Unsung hero of that defense.
Mm-hmm.
Blazing Game was limited and limited. Nate Davis went limited because he's Nate Davis, and then full because they're like, listen here. Darnell Wright's hurt. You're practicing because we might need you. We don't want to need you. Get out there. That's how I read that.
Yeah.
Braxton Jones was limited both days.
Yeah.
He had that little thing in the game, came
Right.
out for a play.
Mm-hmm.
Rome didn't have any issues Wednesday and then was limited yesterday. Is it just taking care because of the knee?
I hope so. Yeah, hopefully that's just precautionary.
And then one that's, I guess, good news is Montez Sweat, who's been dealing with an injury this whole time, went from limited to full.
Okay.
That took a hot minute to go through.
Yes, it did.
I guess 'tis the season.
Yeah, there's a couple names on there that are more concerning than others, but yeah, that did. Byard and Wright and Billings would be the ones for me that are like, uh-oh.
Is anyone trending from didn't to limited is probably playing?
Yeah.
Going the other direction, it's hard to say. We'll know more later today. Meanwhile, the Rams have Cup, did not practice. And for some reason, I only see in their Wednesday one. There's got to be a Thursday one somewhere. And two people that I don't even know who they are, really. So not that worried about what their injury report looks like. They've already got other key guys already on IR.
Right.
So when we talk about them being banged up, the IR guys don't go on the injury report, but they are very much the Rambulance as they come into town here.
The Rambulance, nice. Yeah, because Puka Nakua's out, right, too?
He's already out. Steven Avila, their starting guard. I think they've ran through like 2 or 3 different combinations of guards trying to figure out who to play in this young season. They played Detroit really tough week 1, got smoked by the Cardinals, and then made that big comeback against the Niners. So their season's kind of wonky as well.
Mm-hmm.
And then you have, the issue with the 2 receivers not playing. And so that's where we come into this game in terms of injuries. Do you have a Teichler hot take?
Yeah, I do.
Do that before the preview.
It might be tepid, though, but it's kind of related to my meatball moment as well. So maybe we can circle back to that. But
why not?
Okay. Well, then let me start with my my meatball moment, all right? And really, it goes to all the talk this week in the national media about Jaden Daniels, Caleb Williams, Justin Fields.
Something you brought up.
Yep. I know it's their job to stir up people and get them, talking and all that. And I fell for it, hook, line, and sinker. And the reason I know I fell for it is because I threw a thought of mine out to you guys in the text yesterday. Shout out to the Barely Educated text thread. And you guys were all like, I think you're...
Barely Educated text thread?
You guys were all like, you're nitpicking and you're reading too much. So I was like, all right, fine, good. That's good to know that I'm, it's me. Either that or all you guys are wrong, but that's probably not the case. So,
well, I think the point with that on that text was the point they're trying to make was Danny Parkins' rebuttal. And you were locked in on the wording of it.
Right.
That's all.
Yes. Yeah. Okay. So anyway, all the talk about, Jaden Daniels, he's for real. He was the better pick. Bears should have picked him. Or the Fields is 3-0 with the Steelers. Bears should have stuck with Fields. And so they're trying to get a rise out of me, and it worked. I was full meatball with all this stuff, and not in a good way. That was
and honestly, some of them are legitimately terrible.
Yes.
Chase Daniel is awful because he changes his mind every 5 seconds.
Yeah.
He criticized Bears fans the other day for not holding Williams to a higher standard, and then he just tweeted overnight, basically, that Caleb Williams is not the problem. I'm going to break my neck trying to keep track of which way he's going
here. Yeah. But I fell for it. My meatballness hulked out a little bit, so I was grateful for the text thread to talk me back to reality. So thank you.
I would just encourage you not to engage the ones that are obviously baiting as much.
Yeah, I know.
The ones that bother me the most are the former players because the platform is something like, he knows more football than we do. We should take him more seriously than Colin Cowherd or whoever.
Yeah.
But then they vary so much in the quality of their analysis. I think Orlovsky is another guy that just constantly clickbaiting and changing his view for views. And I think Chase Daniel does this a ton. Whereas I think someone like Tim Jenkins is actually excellent.
Agreed.
He's probably the number one guy we should be keeping up with.
Mm-hmm. Yep. His stuff is great. Agreed.
So I do agree that there's a problem with the way some of this gets treated in the national media based on small samples in 3 weeks. And everybody wants to farm us for views and clicks. And every week we're going to get to go through this, especially with a polarizing figure like Caleb Williams.
Yeah, and not to take anything away from Jaden Daniels, he had a magnificent game the other night.
Yeah, the deep ball was an unbelievable throw.
Yeah.
Like it's completely obliterated at
Yep.
the same time.
And over 90% completion, like, yeah, fantastic. Game 3, phenomenal. Yeah. But so this leads me to my hot take, though, my friend. When this is all said and done and the dust settles by the end of the year, Caleb Williams will be the NFL Offensive Rookie of the Year, my friend.
Ooh, there we go. So you're still not buying the Jaden Daniels.
Not buying it. Not buying it. Don't want to take anything away from what he's done, but did you see how much time he had to throw?
It was crazy. I saw people talking about that too, and noting that the Bengals pass rush after Hendrickson might be the worst in the league.
He could have
The thing that got me about that game is Jaden Daniels came in the league with 3 strengths. That's why I preferred Caleb Williams. He was a more all-around prepared QB. Throwing short and especially to the right. Throwing deep, which we saw, absolutely. And mobility, like he's really fast. He's a good runner. He did all 3 of those things basically flawlessly Monday. And it was an amazing game. I mean, more touchdowns than incompletions, tip of the cap. Absolutely.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, sure.
Seems like a good guy. I am not wishing any ill upon him at all.
Same.
The detractions about him were, can he make all the NFL throws and or when would he? He's a little older, so he's at the hole. Well, he figured it out late because the competition was younger. And he did escape too many clean pockets. That one they seem to have worked on pretty well, by the way. And then would he use the whole field and all that stuff? So Monday was like the perfect recipe for him to look amazing. That's all. The Bengals just let him. It was crazy.
Yeah.
And I'm curious how long it will take coordinators to adjust and like, we're not going to let you do these couple things.
Right.
Throw it. Can you throw it here? It's some of the Lamar Jackson stuff where he's dynamite on certain things and Jaden Daniels being Lamar would be an amazing outcome for the Commanders. This is not an insult.
Yeah.
But I don't know that he'll have another game this year that efficient because the Bengals just had no interest in stopping what he's good at. It was a baffling game plan from a guy that we think is a pretty good DC in Lou Anarumo. If he does it consistently to multiple teams, it'll be, I think, more telling. But I suspect teams are going to start taking some of it away, and we'll see what the Commanders do to counter that.
Yeah.
That's how the league works. It's not a diss on him. It's just how the league works. And when Caleb starts to put on film certain throws that are his preference, they're going to take those away too. But, yeah, great game by Daniels. He's ahead of Caleb right now in the Rookie of the Year for sure.
Yeah, I would agree.
But it's 3 weeks.
3 weeks.
And Caleb looked like he started to figure things out last week.
We're not even through Lovey's first quarter of the season, and people are, making their hot takes.
Got a lot of football left.
We do. Thank you, Lovey. Thank you for the first pick again, Lovey.
And also, we're working on getting you that statue.
Yes. Please. He deserves it. Right next to Papa Bear and Walter, outside of Soldier Field. Lovey.
That would be hilarious if they did it. I really want them to, just because it seems like I think he's the best coach in my lifetime that they've had.
I agree.
Which is not all that much of a compliment considering who they've had as coaches since, but I still maintain it. So,
well, that includes Mike Ditka that you're saying he's better than, and I agree.
I think Ditka disappointed winning only 1 Super Bowl with that roster.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's my hot take for all time.
It's a good one, my friend. Absolutely 100% true. I think it was Richard Dent who was quoted once as saying that Ditka was the reason they won in 85 and the reason they only won in 85. I thought that's an interesting take there.
Interesting. Yeah. So Rams game.
They're hurting. I like Rambulance. That's awesome. Rambulance.
I mean, I would be picking the Rams 100%. I wouldn't even think twice if both the receivers were healthy.
Yeah.
Because our defense is good, but it wouldn't, I think with their receivers healthy, plus the coach advantage, I would just pick them without thinking about it. It wouldn't be that hard of a dilemma. I think there is a dilemma with the injuries. But, Chris, I've wrestled with myself internally about this game all week, as I'm prone to do to some extent. Because what are my three rubrics? Coach, QB's, best unit. Their coach is infinitely better.
Infinitely, yes.
Their QB is still considerably better than ours through this stage of their careers. As we sit here in Caleb's rookie year, how could you not pick Stafford in the QB matchup?
For real.
Like, it's just the case. It's okay. In 2 or 3 years, I don't know that we're saying that. Or even at the end of the year, I don't know. But right now, we're definitely saying Bears defense is the best unit.
Yeah, even if
they were the best
out,
unit last week, and it didn't really matter for the ultimate outcome. And they gave up a bunch of rushing yards at the end of that game.
They did, and your coaching really came into being a factor last week too. So, the coaching liability outweighed the strength of the defense last week.
Well said, and I'm afraid we're maybe in the same boat this week. But boy, those injuries sure do give the Bears more of a chance than I would have given them otherwise. I would have picked them to beat the Colts, lose to the Rams at the start of the season, right?
Yeah.
Right. Now to get to 2-2, you have to flip that. But that's not analyzing the matchup. That's just what you hope happens. You know what I'm saying?
Yes, that is not analysis. Right.
So as we come in, just in terms of league ranks, just a generic metric that is easy to understand and rattle off real fast. Passing yards, they're 7th, we're 20th in the defense. Their offense is 7th. Our defense is actually 20th at 210 a game. They average 250 a game. Rushing yards, they average. Sorry, hang on. That wasn't right. Their passing yards are 251 a game. We allow 184. So it's actually 7th versus 7th, which is kind of interesting.
Yeah.
Their rushing yards on offense, they are 29th in the league, averaging only 78 a game. Defensively, we allow 121. So our rush defense has dipped from last year.
Yeah, that first week.
It's middle of the pack, and they're very bad at running the ball. Points, they average 19, which is 20th. Points allowed, we average 19, which is 10th. You see what I'm saying? This is like very much favors the Bears. All the numbers are flipped, which means they're better for the defense. Okay? Yay, go Bears. Okay, but let's do the other way around. Our offense is 20th, averaging 210 through the air. Their defense is 28th, averaging 258 allowed.
Okay.
Our rushing yards are 31st, to the surprise of no one. Their rushing defense is 31st. You see how ridiculous this matchup is? It's hilarious.
Wow, holy moly.
Our points per game is 22nd at 17.7. Their points allowed is 31st at 30.3.
Oh.
Every little bit, you're like, wow, all this looks good for the Bears.
Yeah, Shane Waldron's got an opportunity here to flip the script, doesn't he?
Yep. It's just like, how about this? Overall offense and defense. Okay, overall, their offense is 19th, we're 8th on defense.
Yeah.
Overall, our offense is 30th, bad. Their defense is 32nd.
Oh, man.
I can't figure out who to pick in this game.
Yeah.
I want to pick the Bears on the strength of the defense, and that could totally be how it plays out. But I'm going to dig my heels in and hate myself for it. I am not picking Matt Eberflus to beat Sean McVay and a good quarterback, Matthew Stafford. He has not shown he can do that.
I don't blame you. I agree.
So I hate it, but I've got the Rams 20, Bears 16.
Yeah, that sounds about right. I think I'll
as always. I always pick an ugly score because I just have no faith in the Bears to figure it out. They got to prove it, man. They got to prove it. I can't get on board.
I think I'm going to go 24-23 Rams. They win on a field goal with seconds winding down in the fourth quarter.
You're just trying to set up an angry post game.
I don't think I need to. Everyone, even
it'll be angry anyway.
Even the game they won, we were angry after that.
That's right. You know why? Because the offense is 0-3.
Yeah.
They shouldn't even have won that game. Will Levis is the only reason the Bears won that game. Now, you can say the defense played great. Yeah, but the real reason they won is Will Levis, I put mayonnaise in my coffee things.
Will Levis has 3 pick-sixes in 3 games this year.
He's committed. You got to give him that.
Yeah, he's committed to the bit, my friend. Yeah, yeah.
I don't know. I'm sorry to everyone. You can absolutely talk yourself into this game, be it a Bears win at home. The defense is good. Caleb hopefully is getting things figured out. The Rams injuries, it's possible. It is absolutely not unreasonable to think the Bears can win this game. I just can't pick Flus to
No,
beat Stafford and McVay.
I totally agree, and I hate the fact that we're here again with trying to find out how the Bears can win, but still make a coaching change. Like that's not going to be.
I know.
Not going to be possible. Probably.
I'm not that many weeks away from like, well, let's lose to get this guy fired. I'm not there, but it wouldn't be that far away either. And again, we looked at it last time. The end of that schedule is brutal.
Yes, it is.
They needed to get nice and fat and healthy off this first part, and I think they could be 1-3 with the Andy Dalton revenge game.
Come on. Yeah, and you mentioned the offense is 0-3, and I just want to add that is no fault of Caleb, the rookie quarterback. It is, I mean, he's had rookie moments, absolutely for sure, but he is not costing them games the way that Shane Waldron and some of his decisions and some of his personnel choices are costing games. Like, weird asking wide receivers to make blocks against big men, that weird goal line stand.
Why were we bunched up? Why didn't we just have DeAndre Carter outside and take the corner with him?
Yeah, I don't know.
I mean, if the blocking scheme calls for him to block an end, throw out the play.
And weren't they on the near hash running to the near side on that?
Well, they did that with the sprint option. That was also hilariously dumb. I mean, that's just all football 101.
Yeah. Yeah.
That you run the play that requires space to the sideways space. I can't, Chris. I can't do it.
I know. And
then the other thing that's happening this week, which we've been doing anyway as a fan base, not me and you, all of us, noting how bad the running game is, and being like, man, DeAndre Carter looks bad. What's with that average yards per carry? We've done all that. Now you're seeing this week comedy in the all-22, where he'll cut the wrong way right into the Bears blockers. He cuts the wrong way right into DJ Moore. And you're like, what is he doing?
Yeah.
He looks like he has no idea what the offense is. I know the Philly O-line is really good. There's no way he was this confused and bad in Philly, even with the differences in the O-line.
So what happened? You get to Hallis Hall and you get dumb? That's
because he just still doesn't understand the offense?
Because that's happened to Shane. That's happened to Waldron, apparently.
He doesn't seem to know where the cutback lanes are. And this is very hard to wrap your head around, because everybody for the last 15 to 20 years that covers this league for a living has said you should only pay special running backs. Most running backs are interchangeable, and they all just kind of like, oh, that's blocked, cut right. There's the hole, And he's like, there's an opening right. I think I'll run into the center. What is this? And I feel like Shane Waldron's been the punching bag pretty consistently in the O-line to a point. It's almost like we're rotating out the top punching bag of the week. And this week, it's some combination of Waldron and Swift. And the O-line was bad, and they did the paint me like your French girls play and all that stuff. But I think most of them are like, yeah, but the O-line's also there. Now we're seeing there's a lane right there. You just didn't run through it.
Yep.
And yeah, I'm by no means am I trying to give the O-line laurels here.
Yeah.
But I think you could actually, the Colts game, possibly rank them third. And I'm not entirely sure Swift wasn't the biggest problem.
Oh, I agree.
Maybe even over Waldron now that we saw the L-22. It's like, I mean, both of them were terrible. So this is not some amazing competition.
But still, for me, Waldron is the guy who keeps putting Swift out there. And,
you can go there. And then you can also talk about Flus having to do all these things with Waldron after the game. He's like, yeah, we're going to talk about that. And then coming in the next day, and he's like, yeah, we talked about that at 6:30 in our meeting this morning. He's like trying to have some accountability for once, maybe, and not just say it's execution. I hate it when he only blames the players. Absolutely hate it. But we got to have a system in place Well, we don't do that in the first place. I'm not going to give you any credit for being like, yeah, we can't have that. You don't need to look at the film the next day to figure this out.
Mm-hmm.
And Caleb was saying on the terrible sprint option play, because that's like the easy one to talk about that everybody knows, he didn't make a check because he didn't get the call in time.
Ugh.
If you know you're going for it on fourth down, they look totally unprepared. This is why I can't stand Luce, the head coach. In game, it's still a mess.
Mm-hmm.
They don't know they're going for 2. How do you not know you're going for 2?
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
you're down 5. Obviously, 4 is irrelevant in football. What do you mean you don't know? They all should have known before they scored, including Caleb and Rome trying to figure out the fun of who gets the ball. You got to be in the mic already being like, if we score, it's 2. If we score, it's 2. And Caleb's telling the huddle. This should have been decided minutes before.
Yep.
That's just horrible coaching. He does not have an ability to add the foresight to plan ahead, and we see it over and over again. So, I mean, I don't want to sit here and repeat everything else.
I know, yeah. But it all comes, it bubbles up to the surface the moment you talk about the coach.
But when you're trying to look at what happened in the game, you're trying to think about the next game, stuff matters.
It does. Absolutely.
And, I think we are possibly in a scenario where you're trying to figure out what the Bears do at the end of the year, and you look at the schedule and you look at how they're playing and you wonder how many wins are actually realistic. 8 at most, almost in some senses, depending on how they do this week. And you're like, that's like the nightmare scenario.
Mm-hmm.
And so then I'm going, well, I'd rather lose more than make it obvious they need to fire him then. And then once again, you've done the stupid thing where you didn't make any use of the first year of the QB. And you just hope he's coach-proof. I mean, I just hate the plan so much.
I do, based on what we've seen, I do think Caleb is coach-proof so far.
I think he'll get there.
Yeah. I'm not worried about him the way I was with Justin or Trubisky. Because look, Justin in Pittsburgh, he's not doing anything flashy, but he's got a coaching staff now that plays to what he can do, and it's working just fine. And he said this week in an interview that there's no comparison between the Steelers coaches and the Bears coaches. Hope you saw that, Ryan Poles.
Yeah, because the Steelers are like, do what you used to do with your footwork. Why would they change that? You stink at that. Mm-hmm. He stunk at that.
Yeah,
he did. It's like when a baseball player is like really good, has a little bitty slump, and then they change his swing, and then he just stinks forever.
Yeah.
Like, I don't know, maybe do what got you to the big league. That's just a thought. Mm-hmm. Justin's played better in some ways, and I've watched a bit of it.
Mm-hmm.
He also looks a lot like the guy the Bears had, who always needed better coaching to make the most of his unique skill set.
Yep.
Watching Caleb is very different. There's almost no throw it. Throw it?
Yeah. Yeah, we're not doing that.
Like, Caleb's not doing that.
Right. Agreed.
He's still calibrating to what he can get away with for sure.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that still remains the biggest difference beyond also Fields' ability to just kill you with his legs, which Caleb will pick up first down here and there, but he's not going to have games where he just goes crazy.
Yeah. Which is
and
better.
I hope Justin continues to play better, and that's better for the Bears because the draft pick's higher. But I do think it's funny when everyone's like, all of a sudden, back to the meatball moment and the topic for 1 second, and then we'll get out of here. This does kill me. Wins weren't a QB stat when Fields was a Bear for the Fields Colt. But now that he's a Steeler, they are.
Yep.
No, we are not doing this.
Yep.
That defense is awesome. He's playing efficiently. He's being coached much better. It's all right there to see. Some of that's all stuff that we were annoyed with the plan for him. It's also 3 years ago, right?
Yep. That's why
can't now be like, but he's 3-0 when you were like not going to use wins before. Wins are not a QB stat.
That is why
you don't get to pick and choose.
Yep. I intentionally said the Steelers are 3-0. I chose my words carefully and intentionally because of that.
And they might have the best defense in the league.
Mm-hmm.
They've already got a 3-game lead on the Bengals.
Yeah, how's my
2-game lead on everybody else? Yeah, everybody else is already 2 games up on.
How's my Bengals AFC champions pick looking?
Hey, it's a proper hot take, apparently.
I guess so. Yeah, 0-3. If you start 0-3, your Super Bowl odds don't look so good.
Yeah. I think you need to double down. Keep that. That's the hot take.
Well, I think it happened once before. I think the 07 Giants started 0-3 or 1-4, something like that.
I mean,
And
I think we all agree the defense is the problem there, but what can they do to fix it? That pick's probably in trouble. I mean, I don't think any of our picks look all that great. Is there a 3-0 team that you believe in besides the Chiefs? This is the thing I've been wondering. I think it was FS1, Nick Wright's show, did a thing on that, and because he was just like, yeah, and besides the Chiefs, none of them are Super Bowl contenders. So it's a weird start to the season, and we see this all the time.
Yeah.
And I'm sitting there going like, do I believe in it? The Bills? I guess I believe in the Bills, but they never can beat the Chiefs when it matters.
Yeah.
But otherwise, I definitely believe in the Bills.
Mm-hmm.
I do not believe in the Steelers, although I do believe in their defense. And then it's the Chiefs. Those are your three in the AFC, okay? And in the NFC, you have the Vikings. Love the coaching staff.
Yeah.
Super crazy, confusing defense. I can't take them seriously, though.
Not yet.
As a Super Bowl winner with Darnold?
Not yet.
That would be one of the crazier seasons ever.
Mm-hmm.
So not yet's a good way to put it. Same thing with Seattle. It's like, yeah, I like what they're doing in a lot of ways. Geno's underrated probably. But Super Bowl contender? I don't know. That's your only 2-3-0 teams in the NFC.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't buy any of them as Super Bowl contenders. So the point is, it's early. And even the teams that are 3-0, you're like, hold on, except for Chiefs, Bills.
Mm-hmm. Yep, agreed. I think Detroit's still the best in the NFC, especially if San Francisco is.
Yeah, those injuries look like they might derail the season for real.
Yeah.
I think, the Ravens are still going to get back in the thick of things, right?
Yeah.
Texans are still really good. If you look at the rest of the AFC, you're not sure what to make of the Jets yet. 2-1 is an okay start for their first real-time action for Rodgers.
Mm-hmm.
Over in the NFC, I still think you have to take the Eagles seriously, though I think they have problems. Lions and Packers are contenders. Not sure on the South, and the Niners got to get healthy. I mean, there are a lot of ways to look at this that basically just come down to still looks really wide open after the Chiefs, who aren't really playing all that well anyway, but we've seen that doesn't really matter.
Yeah, we saw that last year. Yep.
They didn't score an offensive touchdown against the Raiders on Christmas, and they still won the Super Bowl. You know how miserable I'd be if the Bears played a Christmas game against their rivals, and that was the game we got? Ruined Christmas.
It probably would be the game we'd get. Stupid.
Fair.
Yeah, Matt LaFleur decides to start like some guy he picked up off the street who throws for 302 touchdowns against the Bears.
Who just never make a single defensive adjustment the whole game, even though he actually does do that most games.
Okay.
I like this. Now we're dooming over an imaginary scenario.
Yeah.
It's officially time to end this.
Yeah, that's probably true. Yep. Any division games you want to look at, or are we good?
Oh, right.
Of having tactics.
Anything from last night? A lot of injuries on that there field. Penalties. Holy Thursday slop. That was all the things.
But Malik Neighbors, man, hope he's okay. But that dude is something. He can get open. He can get open. That's the most important thing. Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I've always loved him as a player. There were all the concerns about how he conducted himself at LSU, having friends still down there that I'd talked to about all that. And you kind of worried that New York wouldn't be so great for someone like that. But he's off to a good start, of course. And you just hope that all that ends up being just general maturity. He's young, too.
Mm-hmm.
But that concussion's a little scary because it's like it wasn't the one where the head bounces back. He was falling forward. Nobody hit him for the concussion. So I hope there's nothing there.
Yeah.
And you got Micah Parsons hurt, back-to-back plays. That was crazy. Okay, so I don't really have anything else to say about that game. Our Carolina Panthers tracker for one more year that we have to do it. Home for the Bengals.
Revenge
Your
game
Bengals.
for Andy Dalton.
It is. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
He's got back-to-back revenge games.
He does, yes.
Well, clearly this is predictive for the next one. I'll take the Bengals. They're going to finally figure something out.
They can't go 0-4.
They can't go 0-4. Yeah. Just the odds. All right, the game of the week might be, though, Minnesota 3-0 at 2-1 Green Bay. Green Bay getting 2.5, which means Vegas calls it a pick 'em.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Do we know if Love is playing?
I don't think so, but I have not seen for sure.
Right.
Just based on the injury, I think 4 to 5 games is the minimum that he's gonna miss. But yeah, that'll be a good one. Obviously, I want Minnesota to to win that one, just to slow down Green Bay a little bit.
Yeah, I think that's right, Land. But a 4-0 Minnesota, and if the Bears lost, you'd probably be like, well, that's a wrap.
Yeah.
2 3-1 teams, or do you want one 4-0 team in the division? Because don't forget, we're going to take the North and never give it back. We're going to never take the North and never get out of last place.
Okay.
Well, who do I think will win is much harder until I know if Jordan Love's playing. If it's still Malik Willis, there's no way Brian Flores won't have some stuff to confuse him. I'll take the Vikings.
Agreed.
And if Love does play, is he 100%? He's already kind of wonky as a QB to begin with. I don't. It'd be a lot easier to pick the Vikings if this was in Minnesota, but I'm going to pick them anyway.
Yep, same. Vikings.
And then who does Detroit play? Are they Monday?
Maybe they're Monday.
They're Monday. How dare they? Seattle at Detroit. Wow, all the other division teams have a doozy of a matchup. I'll take Detroit. That'll get both those teams to 3-1. Even though I think Seattle's pretty fun. That's a cool matchup to watch on a Monday night. I like it.
I think they bounced back after their loss last week, Detroit. So
the double Monday games are going to be just like last week, where you're not going to want to watch the one, and the other one will be really pretty entertaining. Because the other one is Tennessee at Miami.
Oh gosh.
Although Will Levis could entertain. That's the appetizer before you switch over to the other game.
Oh man.
What will he do next?
I assume Tua's out of that one.
Oh, I'm sure he's still out.
Yeah. Okay. So, that guy's got to think about long-term hanging it up.
He does. It's like one of the worst, if not the single thing about this sport.
Agreed.
All right, take us out of here.
Sounds good. Thanks, everyone, for listening to this episode of Barely Educated. We will talk to you after the Bears-Rams game at some point. Find us on the socials at barely_educated. Email barelyeducatedpod@gmail.com. And check out our Buy Me a Coffee for a free t-shirt. buymeacoffee.com/barely_educated. We'll be in touch soon. Enjoy the game if possible, and talk to you next time. Mark Jansen.
The eminent archaeologist.
I'm not saying I make a lick of sense.
I don't know. I'm making this up as I go.
Have you lost your mind?
Rah rah shish kebab, blah 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 blah.
I'm writing this down. This is good stuff.
You suck, Chris.
You owe me an apology.
Will you shut up, man?
I love the Bears.